Hello, everyone. Welcome to Monday Night Roundup, Season 3, Series 3, I guess. If I start saying Season 3, we're all going to get confused. It is the third season of our Monday Night Roundup. It is the seventh season of the ADBBL, and we are here to have a look at the season that's coming up. The draw's been done. We're all going to start playing our games from Thursday, and we're going to go through all of the groups and everything and all that in between to see how the season is looking like it's going to shape out. Joining me, as always, is Scott and Tom. Joining me for the roundup, regular features. Gentlemen, how have we been? We've been off season for a while. How are we? What have we been doing? How's the off season been?
Well, first of all, it's good to be back. It's very good to be back. Good evening, sports fans. But before we do start, just following some weekend conversations, tonight broadcast goes out to someone special, to all you lovers out there who might be coming home late from work. It's quiet, it's lonely in the car, but you know who you are. This one goes out to all you people. Off season was good. To all Blood Bowl coaches who are left unsupervised and have too much time on their hands. All I'll say on a personal front is after the incident, the cream is working well. So we should be in a good position and hopefully everything will be faded enough ready for hitting the beach this summer. And elves and pinkness have come into the coaching setup. That's enough for me. Tom?
Sounds like your arms are going to be the same colour as your elves this summer. Fantastic. Yeah, so been great, been good. Had a couple of tournaments played, frantically painting up unpainted bits of grey plastic ready for the new tournament, new season. So looking forward to it.
Yes, I've been. I know we've got one tournament we've all got under our belt. I can't remember whether the one I did before that was. I think it was post end of season. I sort of have lost track of time over when the last season ended and this one began. I'm not in my kitchen. This was the main thing I did over this time, and a big shout out to Sam of the Double Yolks for his help with this. Lovely little setup I've now got in here. But I mean, been dying to get back to some roundups and get back to some seasonal discussion. Before we do, obviously, we can't return to our Monday Night Roundup without taking a gentle stroll down towards Scott's corner. Scott, what have you got for us this week?
Well, we're going to talk about exciting things, and we're going to start the season off as we mean to go on with the usual witterings and ramblings of three individuals who should know much better. Reminder to all the coaches out there, whether you're a returning veteran, whether this is your first season, this is the Monday Night Roundup. We'd love to get you on the show as well. So if you do want to come on, drop us a note at the usual address. Drop us a note through store as well, through all the usual social media communication pathway. But if you want to come on here, please come on. Am I excited about season 7? Yes. This is where new legends will be written, destinies will be fulfilled, and coaches can dream about punching their opposition in the face as they look up to the pantheon of coaching gods who have walked this path before them. The gnomes are coming. Will they have an impact, or are they just going to be farming SPP this season? Who knows? Now, one of the key topics everybody loves to talk about is good old merchandise. This was last year's beauty, everybody's favorite mug. So where are we? Well, merchandise is work in progress. I can confirm that it will be the type of merchandise for season 7 you have come to expect from the Monday night team. Yes, we will maintain the levels of discourtesy and moronic behavior that you've come to know and love. And yes, all merchandise will reflect our usual standards of, yeah, that'll do. The merch will be merchandise you know you didn't want and you didn't know you wanted as well. The merchandise that will not make you friends or your family jealous, and it won't have them turning up just to see that you have ADBBL gear at your home. At the Monday Night Roundup, we're aiming to please as always as well. So we know we had an exceptional lot of feedback and some emotionally charged and mixed feedback for our magnanimous mugs, ADBBL Monday merchandise. All of the feedback, and thank you for that, has been collated and verified by an independent auditor together with our legal teams. And what I am allowed to say is no, they were never meant to be drunk from. Just because it looks like a handle with a mug, that's just purely coincidental. Yes to those questions. Our seepage can occur. This is a free upgrade as part of the mug design. Any subsequent soiled clothing, however, does fall outside the remit. No, we are not bankers. And yes, I can confirm that cult is spelt with an L. So in terms of the legal disclaimers, ADBBL, Monday Night Idiots are not responsible for any quality issues with your mugs. Your feedback is important to us, but it's not that important to us, and any calls or communication will certainly not be recorded for quality or training purposes. If you do want to share your feedback about your ADBBL merch and even the new season's merch, if you are under the misguided impression that we are considerate and caring, and will even bother to look at it, please forward any quality concerns or legal proceedings in triplicate to the Mr. Scott Phipps planning to be on an exotic beach somewhere they can't find me, where I'll be lounging in cash with a pina colada fund, PO Box 1, the Cayman Islands, possibly. ADBBL is not regulated in the slightest by any authority save our own level morality. It here, more soon.
I have to say,
Medication.
QVC missing a front man there. You know,
Have you missed it, Tom?
oh, it's been wonderful just listening to the dulcet tones of Scott trying to sell stuff. You know,
This is therapy. That's all it is, really. It's like, you know, it's a hell of a lot cheaper than you know, than private, and obviously it's more consistent than the NHS.
Well, why don't we dive into talking about season 7 then? We've got the groups have been drawn. We have got new coaches, old coaches, new teams, all sorts of things that were thrown into this draw that was done on Sunday. If you want to relive the drama, then you can watch that on the YouTube channel, as with all of these, all of the things that we do. But let's have a little look at the groups that we have got. And we will start, Tom, with your group. And I genuinely think I was the most excited by your group being drawn, and like the outcome of your group of any of the other ones. And I don't know what it is. I think it's because I not to take anything away from our other coaches, it just looks like the nicest, friendliest group of people that could have been drawn. I can just imagine your group is just going to be so much fun.
yeah, it looks it. Never played any of them, so it would be a delight to see. Nice selection of different teams, so there's no duplicates in the division either. And again, apart from one, which is obviously Jane's Necromantic Horror, all brand new teams and all roughly the same team value as well. So it'll be a lovely, nice start. I'm sure it will all just turn and go nasty very, very quickly.
How are your confidence levels at the moment, Tom? On a scale of 1 to 10, where are you?
Well, because I've never played with humans at all on any level. Never done a test run. Never done anything with them.
Hang on, just hang on. So I'm just getting a message through. Didn't we play a game of sevens before?
Didn't use humans. I used necromancy. So yes, never used humans on any game. So it will be an interesting one to do. I've been swatting up on all the websites to see all the tactics that you can do.
Yeah, I mean,
And you know,
how are you?
No halflings.
No halflings. No. What? No. One ogre, 4 blitzers, 2 catchers, and a thrower. Rest of linemen.
So why? Because you were all registered up with your Necromantic Horror team.
Yeah.
And then it's been it was a last minute couple days beforehand swap to the humans. So why did you ditch the Necromantic Horror?
Well, I've been playing the Necromantic Horror for most of the tournaments and also in the free time that we've been doing, mainly against a certain pink Wood Elf team and finding delight in it. However, I have been playing them consistently in tournament kind of conditions, meaning that I've put additional skills on them. Looking at it, speaking to our and dealing with the kind of upsets that and the mental problems that the vampires caused me last year. I was hoping for a little bit more flexibility and kind of relax. If not more ones than normal. And I'm sure I'm going to find myself in a really silly position. So, but at least I've got some additional skills already on those players. So the base skills that I can play with.
And you're going to have 200k in inducements when you take Bompton Shamblers. Any thoughts at this moment, Tom, or are you going to wait until the last minute and decide?
There is a few star players I can potentially take. A particular little squirrel, just for fun. Never played an old world team, so I'm looking and just reviewing some of them. So, any tips or anything, put it in the chat and let me know.
So, anyone in chat, if you had 200k to spend in inducements, you're playing humans, what are you going to spend it on? Tom needs your help.
I think it feels like quite a balanced group. It's sort of the Norse and the Amazons were pretty much released at the same time. Two teams that mirror each other quite a lot, with the block on one side and the dodge on the other. So two teams that I do feel are quite similar in a lot of ways. The necromantic and the humans jack of all trades, necromantic horror. There's strength in there, there's pace in there. The whole group feels quite balanced. Can I pick two people to come out of this group? That's the tricky.
Well, first of all, Chris, you are contractually obliged to anyway, so
That's
yes,
true.
you have to. Yeah, so and just to let chat know, we will be recording our woeful predictions as well. So for each league, what we're going to be predicting is who are going to be the top two we think are going to progress into the Champions League. Is there an official title for the top 16, Chris?
Titles and graphics will be released before Thursday.
Okay, so if you imagine the top 16 will qualify for what we call the Champions League, and everybody else will be able to qualify still. So you can still play in a full-blooded tournament. Knockout is the UEFA Cup equivalent for those who know better. So we're going to be looking at who do you think are going to be the top two to progress out of each league group? Who are going to be the top three overall coaches? Are we going to really ask who do we think are going to be the bottom three coaches? It's a bit harsh even for us at this start.
I think I meant top three of the bottom bracket.
Okay.
Because we want to know who the top three like conference teams are and the top three Premier League teams are.
I'll keep the lawyers happy for a couple of days. And we're also going to be voting for or look to predict who we think will take the Stunty Cup this year. So let's start as we mean to go on. Let's put Chris Coe on the spot. Chris Coe, who do you think is going to be making it out of Orchidas? Orchidas? I don't know.
I had two names in my head, and then Tom said he'd never played humans before. And now Tom, you're worrying me. I think I think the kind of the loose cannon in this group is the Norse team, because they haven't been playing Blood Bowl as long as Tom or Jane, but they have been practicing regularly against the likes of Tom Harrison and Elliot, which is a tough group to learn in, and I imagine you would learn quite kind of quickly there. Having played against all four of these coaches, I'm gonna send Tom and Jane through.
Controversial. Tom, who are you going to put through from your group? Are you confident enough to back yourself?
Oh, I don't know. I'm a bit like Chris on the fact that I have played against Amazons before. I've never played against Necromantic Horror, and I know, and that's a kind of team that's been redrafted as well, so they've got some additional skills on them. The Norse to me is the outlier, as Chris has just mentioned on those particular factors. So I'm gonna have some confidence in myself.
Come on, Tom.
And
Come on.
I'm gonna put myself forward as going through, because I want to just win at least 2 games. That's my outline on this. I want to try and double my win rate and win 2 games within the group. And I think with that, and as you said before, 2 of the players are new to the board game. Not necessarily, I don't know about the actual computer game or anything like that. And I think maybe I'm being kind of a pack out and saying myself and Jane as well on that side of things, because again I think Jane has got a lot of experience. I think, is this like her 4th season now or something like that?
Yeah,
playing.
season 4.
I don't know. Yeah, and as I say, this is a redrafted team as well. And also, I inadvertently, very stupidly, gave her a crib sheet of how I was playing my Necromantic Horrors at the tournament on Saturday. So she's got my crib sheet of how to do certain tactics with the Necromantic Horrors, not to kind of give anything else away. So I think myself and Jane for that team.
Scott?
Just to finish it off then, and I think that it's Jane's big chance. I think she's got 200k. I know 200k incentives for the other coaches, but Jane's played this team last season. She was in the group of death. I think she will have learned from that experience again. And I'm sorry, Tom, but I think Jack is going to be a bit of a one to watch this year. He's come from a tough stable. He's come from a good quality stable as well there. I'd be interested. I'd see Tom's in chat tonight as well. Don't know what he thinks, but I did put the the mark, the unwanted mark upon Tom last year, and he got the semis. So I'm going to put the same on. Keep it in the family. Going to go for Jack.
I think whoever doesn't
But
come out of this group
I want you to
yeah.
disappoint me, Tom.
I think someone who comes out of this group could end up, if they don't come out of this group in the top half, could really storm the bottom half. I think there's a strong 3 there. Leanne, I don't think it's her season, but I think she will grow a lot this season and maybe be a force for a future one. Before we go on to the next group, we're going to take a quick pause. We might disappear. We will come back. I'm going to do some things on my end to get a more stable connection for us. So bear with us. Just going to pause everything and we will be back shortly. Hello everyone, we are back. Some technical issues that were quick to resolve by moving somewhere else in my house. Apparently 26 people have just jumped on in one go. That's fantastic. Thank you for bearing with us. It's the Season 7 preview. We don't have to be perfect yet, but we have to be perfect next week. So we'll sort that out. Anyway, next group. We move on from now, are we going for... Let me just clarify this now. Are we going for Orkidas or Orkidas? I said it out loud and I don't think there's a difference.
Orkidas? I don't know.
Orkidas.
Orkidas.
Yeah.
We'll go for Orkidas. Perfect. So let's move on then to Bloodwiser Group, which is where we've decided to keep almost all of the Nurgle this season, chucking some no's in there for good luck, and an old world team as well. This one I think is quite difficult to call. An interesting group that has been drawn here, and I don't know if I could give you a really confident order of these ones. How do we think the gnomes in this group are going to get on? Now, this is a one of our new coaches. Very much welcome to them. How do we think this gnome team are going to get on against the kind of disturbing presence, foul appearance, and all of that of not one but two Nurgle teams that they're going to have to face?
Personally, I think it's going to be a long and possibly pungent, hey, no pun intended, time for gnomes, not just in this group, but for them all as well. Yeah, we saw it in the Ipswich Classic on the weekend. Gnomes, I think, are settling in. I think they'll take a couple of games and a couple of seasons for coaches to get the best out of them. I think in terms of this group, Coach Acredes, he's obviously been jumping. Last year, the hot spews before that, they would talk about the Bleeding Clowns, who are, from what we understand, just getting ready for season 8. So I think Acredes is going to be going through on this one, even Mr. Phipps, if you're tuning in. And I think then it's going to be one of the two Nurgles. I'm going to put my name, so therefore to Acredes. And just because I like the name, I'm going to go for Luke and his fetid feet. That's nothing more than that. And I'm sorry to the other coaches. John, I hope you prove me wrong with your gnomes. And Nick, I know I'm sorry to say, and please don't send Claudia Winkleman round to do my kneecaps. But yeah, I'm just going for the fetid feet on no other,
Tom, what do you
no
think
more
of this
strength
one?
than that.
Where are you leaning on this one, Tom?
Yeah, so I think a bit like Scott, the Gnomes did not play very well last in the tournament we've just been talking about. However, they're brand new. No one really knows what they're like, and they're playing at a tournament where, we see certain teams play better in league than they do in tournament. So I reckon that the Gnomes, not just in this division but others, might cause a little bit of an upset. They're an unknown quantity of things. They're not the fastest, but they've got a few little tricks up their sleeves, especially those foxes. So it's with the speed on that level, and with the tree men to kind of maybe add a bit of muscle. I'm actually going to put my kind of money on the big critters to go through, and I think Nurgle seem to be a very difficult team to play. I think they're not very fast. There's some kind of areas of okay, yes, you've got the disturbing presence, you've got foul appearance and things like that, so you're very good on defense, but moving up the field, I suspect they might have a bit of some issues, especially with the likes of little gnomes getting in their way. And also, we can't disallow the fact that we've got an old world alliance in this group, so there's a lot of tree men in this group already. So I'm going to put my money on the two, which is the Old World Alliance and the Gnomes on this one.
This is interesting. We're all going very differently. I've played a couple of games against Luke. Luke is sort of learning the tabletop game and sort of getting better with every game. John has sort of Blood Bowl experience, but is brand new to this gnome team. I think I am going to. I think the team that I'm putting in as getting out of this group is definitely. I think the Nurgle are getting out. I think Nick and his inglorious Persturds, for lack of a better pronunciation, are getting out of this group. I think this is his season. Every season he gets a bit better. I think he's got a real opportunity here against some new people or it's people not playing teams that are maybe suited to them, and has a really good chance at getting through. As far as who's going to join him, I think says my head says that the Hudal Hellions will have enough to get through. My heart says that it is double Nurgle getting out of this group. I think
So
that's
there you
what I'm
go.
going with. I'm going to go double Nurgle from this one. Going Feated Feet and Inglorious Persturds.
Okay.
Let's. It's an interesting one, that one, and two new. It's quite good. You got two new people in there. I think what could happen, what could throw it out, is that your two experienced heads lose points against each other, and your two new people maybe get some interesting results, and that kind of throws things out. I think that's what we can see sometimes. So we'll see how that one goes. Um, we'll move on to Chaos Cola, an interesting group. Now, before we get our predictions in for this one, let's talk about our current champion, Elliot.
Yes.
So, dwarves. He wasn't going to bring the dwarves this season. He was going to try something else. He registered gnomes. He had not the best day at a tournament with those gnomes. Then he registered elves. Then he registered necromantic horror. Um, we've landed on necromantic horror, a team that I don't believe he's played before. Um, a roller coaster, Tom, at the end of a difficult gnome tournament day.
Yeah, there was definitely a lot of movement on tour play on Saturday before the cutoff for this particular coach. This is going to be an interesting one because there's the four different teams all play a completely different style of game compared to each other. You know, you've got an agile team in there of the toxic runners. You've got a halfling team in there. You've got necromantics and dwarves. So you've got a whole mismatch in there. It's going to be an absolute laugh and joy to watch some of these games. Not to mention that you've got some very well seasoned coaches in this division. To me, there's always a kind of division of death, and this is definitely one of those divisions.
Scott, what do we think?
I think this is going to be a really good league, and just for a lot of the reasons that Tom just said there. If we look at it on paper, Elliot has been absolutely teasing the media on this one, and rightly so if he's not happy to play gnomes. But we know how good of a coach he is. You know, he's the current reigning champion. You know, you've got to be good at that. Justin is playing his T-belly trudgers. And then we've got the two returning coaches. Again, so all four returning coaches. Graham and Jamie have redrafted as well. So you think they've got the skills to start with. They're doing like that. However, look at that points difference in terms of the numbers. Justin is already got 450k available in inducements when he plays Jamie. Now, I know Jamie, he's got his death roller. He put Mighty Blow on one of his slayers, even before, just as soon as the tournament broke. Is that one of the dogs got toys?
You might be able to hear one of my dogs squeaking a toy.
Suffolk wildlife at its finest. So for me, I think this is going to be, again, a really interesting one, how they go. So yeah, it's a really hardcore one, but I'm not going to sit here waffling for too much longer. In terms of the two teams who I think are going to progress, I'm going to go for Jamie, because I think he's going to build on what he did last season, and he played very well, playing the dwarfs exceptionally well at the moment. And for my other one, I think I'm going to go for Graham and his Skaven. One, not just as a fellow Skaven coach, love a bit of rat action as well. I hope Graham decides to, when he does get the cash, I hope he does decide to take that Roger. I think it's a thing of beauty. He's got a lot of block already. He's got two gutter runners with dodge and block. Again, safe hand, sure pass, cannoneer on it, throwers as well. I think Justin could do some stuff with his trudgers. And Elliot, I don't know. It's a new team. Again, he's going to have 200k or so incentives when he plays. But for me, I'm going to stick it with Jamie and Graham. There you go. So I'm writing with. I think we're going to see a new name on the title this year.
I am also going to put Jamie going through. I think Jamie has Jamie improves season on season, and I think this season he's coming in with a strong redraft. He's the only dwarf coach, and I think he can do really well this season. I think you've also got. I think Graham got quite unlucky last season. He had some very difficult games. With some really difficult dice rolls going against him pretty much consistently, and also losing players very quickly. I think this group could almost go down to who plays who first. I think if the Skaven team's first job is to get over some dwarfs, I think they might end up having a bad season. I'm gonna go for. Oh, it's so tricky. It's so tricky this season without being able to offer someone as a wild card, isn't it?
Just before you make your choice then, Chris, Elliot, and thank you, Elliot, and hello, everybody in chat. Elliot has just posted in chat, solid team. I think I can qualify if I play it smart.
I'm going to go, I think it's going to be a tight group from first to fourth here. I'm gonna go World's Edge Berserkers, and I'm gonna go for Elliot going through with his Necromantic Horror team. I think he'll practice enough, and he'll get what he needs to go through.
I think we've dropped off again, Chris.
Have we? Everything looks.
No, I think we're back on.
Are we good? Okay.
Looks like buffering.
I think I'm going to go for World's Edge Berserkers, and I'm going to go for I'm Not Boring. That's my two for this one.
Okay.
Tom, you're on the spot.
Sure. Just to wrap it up on that one, then I think that then there's no doubt that there's going to be a dwarf team going through, and unlike other seasons, there's only one dwarf team.
Yeah, just the one.
Yep. So again, I'm going to be boring and say Jamie, but I'm going to be a little bit different because Justin there with his halflings. I've played Justin numerous times. He is a very calculated player, and I know that he'll probably no doubt have done his homework. He may have already played this team in other seasons in other leagues as well. So I'm actually going to say Jamie and Justin on that one.
Interesting. That's going to be a good one to watch. I think again, whoever doesn't get into the top two could have a very good run in the bottom half of the draw. So moving on to McMurtry's then, probably one of few groups that was drawn and you look at it and it doesn't feel overly difficult to decide in this one who's going to get through. That being said, gnomes are still brand new. There's still a lot to learn about them. I think there's going to be a learning curve with them, and I think the gnome v gnome results could be key here. But I'm looking at this group and I'm a little bit terrified as to what the Riotous Rams are going to look like when they come out of it.
Yes, it's going to be a feeding frenzy for Nanny on those gnomes, I think. I said in our chat previously, can a single player have the same team value as another team just on its own? Because I think there's going to be absolutely slaughtering gnomes left, right, and centre with that team. But just to pick up on what you said, I think we're under no illusion that the Riotous Rams, who are an exceptionally well used team now, and who've got lots of good skills, as well as the infamous Nanny in the team, is a kind of I'm assuming that we're going to put them through. But this for the second one for me is a bit of an unknown, because as you say, these gnomes, we still don't know. There's going to be two teams against each other now. So there may be a bit of a kind of playoff between them. I think that if I look correctly, they are exactly the same setup, so they're exactly the same lineup.
Well, if you look at, I was going to raise that. If you look at that, Tom, so Honkington's Folly and Throg, he's only got one tree at the moment in his team. He's got 140k in terms of his cash. Dave and the Dreyerstone, defenders, similar to a lot of the other gnome teams we've seen, they're going with the two trees. So It'll be
Okay.
interesting. I think, as you've exactly said, I'm expecting Rich and Nanny. If this is Nanny's final season, maybe this is is this going to be the tour de force that we've all always just come to expect? I do expect that. In terms of the gnomes, I don't know. So I'm going to apologise to Simon now, and I'm going to put money on the Wyoming Wasps. Just love to see a good Black Orc team doing well if he keeps it tight.
So you're going Rams and Wasps, yeah?
That's me. Tom, who are you
Ooh.
going for? Did you say, Tom? Sorry, did you say
No,
your second team?
no, I actually, on what you've just mentioned there, and I've just done a quick calculation. So if the, let's get the names right. If the Sir Honkington's Follies play the Riotous Rams, they have enough in their back pocket to get Griff. Now that might be their saving grace. It might be something along those lines. But I'm gonna go for Riotous Rams and Sir Honkington's Folly on that one.
So you're saying Griff versus Nanny. Nanny's got 22 SPP in the bank. Bob the Blocker's got 16 SPP in the bank as well, ready to go.
Just running down there and just start throwing gnomes around.
I don't know. I think I am gonna go for. I'm actually gonna go. I'm gonna go Dreystone Defenders to join the Riotous Rams out of this group. I think Dave is gonna. Dave's gonna have so much fun with this team. I think he's shown that he can build a good team quite quickly, build a strong team quite quickly, and I think all of those gnome teams, one of those gnome teams needs to get 6 points against the other gnome team, and then they probably just need one upset. I think, and one upset could send them through. And I think I'm gonna put it on. I'm gonna say that Dave could provide that upset.
Well, Scott's just put not me and not the other Scott, but the other Scott, the sophisticated, good-looking musical one. He's put a comment in chat saying, "Haven't won most casualties on Saturday by punching gnomes into the ground in game 3." Yeah, they're squishy.
They are. They did prove to be squishy at the weekend. I didn't get the casualties, but I did have a fun time against them. Let's move on to the next group then, and let's move on to Nesquig, which I think is probably. I'm gonna say that this is our group of death. I think this is our group of death. Old World Alliance coach is new to the league, but it has, I don't think you pick up Old World Alliance because you have no Blood Bowl knowledge. I'll give you my thoughts on Old World Alliance later. Robert, tournament winner. James, league winner. John, two-time league winner. How can we look past this group as being the group that is going to be absolutely one to watch?
I would be very interested to see how Mr. Reader goes. Drive safely there, John. Especially if his bloodlust rolls are either like our own Tom, or if it's like Tom Huns last year, who was an absolute magician with the vampires. So, how is John going to go? Because I believe, and one of you guys, or even chat, correct me if I'm wrong, but when John did play vampires, when they first came out pre-season 6, he did say to me that with vampires, it's either they'll all stay on the pitch, and you'll absolutely have a great match, or they'll end up taking themselves off the pitch with bloodlust as well. So I'm not too sure. I think James, for me, is going to be, up there. He played the OTFC last year. He's got a lot of value because he's got 1,065,000 in his team. But I think James is going to be there. He's actually my shout out for the Stunty Cup. Sorry, Scott. And I'm actually going to put money on Robert. I think, this year didn't do too bad on the weekend as well. So I think he could, maybe this year could be his year.
Tom, what do we think?
Yeah, so I'm gonna say I'm going to go with John because, again, I saw him over the weekend playing these vampires and he's playing them well. He's also got a Vargeist in it, which is a bit Marmite, a bit like a Roger. Some people you'd like it, some people don't, but they can be very devastating on that side of things. Now, this is the next one's a bit of a tricky one, really, because as you quite rightly say, there's a lot of experience here and a lot of knowledge. And I'm just wondering whether the OTFC might do a little number on this. So I'm going to put my money on James for this one.
I'm also I'm putting my money on James to get out of here as well. And it feels weird to be discounting John from this group, but I just feel like I'm gonna say Robert. I think the Hanley boys are gonna storm out of here. I think Old World Alliance are tricky. Um, I'm certainly finding them tricky. And I think vampires are very. I think there's similarities between the vampires and the ogres because you've got Bonehead on all those ogres and Bloodlust and all those vampires. But I think that they could cause John trouble. And I think the Hanley boys could kind of storm out of this group. I think it's going to be tight, and I think we could get the winner of the conference out of this group. But I'm going to go James and Robert.
Controversial stuff. Controversial stuff. Just to put it out for John, because I know John is an emotional soul. John, we still care deeply, mate. You know, don't go to the Ipswich, mate. You know, there's still a place in the A&D BBR hearts for John Reeder. Just want to officially put that out there.
Well,
so Ikelia, let's move on before anybody gets too emotional.
Yeah.
Ikelia.
Jump into Ikelia.
Tom.
Oh,
lead us off.
So this one is an interesting one again, isn't it? Again, I'm just really, really loving the variety in each of these divisions, not only of teams, but obviously of coaches as well on here. I'm going to put my money on Harrison going through. As I said previously in last season, he plays those Orcs incredibly well. And you know what? I'm going to put in going through good old Scott with the Flamingos as well, because he didn't go, he got through and he plays those goblins with a bit of fun and pizzazz. So I'm going to put those two through.
Are you discounting the Dead Star Belgrade? I know they at 1.2 already in terms of team value. Obviously, Dave topped the group of death last season.
The only reason I'm doing it is on form of what I've seen. I've unfortunately not had the pleasure of seeing Dead Star Belgrave play, so I'm be looking on the Discord channel to see when things have been taking place. So I might pop down and watch a few games.
Chris,
obviously Harrison is getting out of this group. He's strolling out of this group. I think Harrison and Dave get out of this group, and I'm sad because I think they get out of it with a little bit of comfort, just because I think they are going to the strength and skills that Harrison has been quite patient to add onto that team, or had some good randoms. The strength 5 mummies that Dave has at his disposal. I don't think we're going to see. I think we're going to see those two teams cause a lot of pain in this group for the Goblins and for the Skaven. So I'm going to go Dead Star Belgrave and Buffalo Biggins.
Okay. Scott's just put it in chat as well. I've never beaten Dave Rue. He's my bogey coach, and I think he wants us to call out the full Flamingos name here. He's not happy, and I can see a trade rights infringement case coming soon as well. So I can't, if I'm honest with you, I'm going to get names wrong, so apologies. Plague Brigade, they're in the coach. Is that Carl? What's coach surname there? Coach's name? No one knows.
I don't know, Chris.
I'm going to feel really bad if I say yes and I've got
Is
it
it
wrong.
Carl? I thought it was because I met him. I was chatting to him on the weekend. Hello.
Yeah. Yeah, it is Carl.
Yeah. So Carl, yeah. Hi, how you doing? Listening.
Carl, we're sorry.
Yeah. We were talking on the weekend. I think he's got the Skaven. I love a Skaven team. However, he's not got the Roger. He's not got the Roger. For me, I think, he might be struggling. We know how good Harrison and Dave can play fast teams as well. They proved it last year. I think as well, Scott is not going to go quietly into that good night. So I'm going to go for the Buffalo Big Uns and Dead Star Belgrade. So Harrison and Dave again for me, guys. I think Scott is going to be one of my top three for the conference title, if that's what we've christened it.
If he's not got a Rat Ogre, he's playing them the right way. You don't need it. It's a waste of time. We'll slide on down to Spike Magazine. Here I am. If we just end the season now, I'll happily sit top of this group on default for being alphabetically first. I don't think it's even done alphabetically, actually. No, it's not. Well, am I pleased with this group? No. And that's all I have to say. Any questions?
You can't leave us hanging.
God,
JD Clark has just said, JD, yeah, best division, me and Phil through. Yeah.
It's tricky. I'm having hi Phil. It's I don't think I'm getting out of this group. I don't think I am. I don't like Old World Alliance. I'm not enjoying playing them. I think they are three teams mashed together and scrubbed up to make look even nastier than they would be if they were on their own. They're poor humans. They're rubbish dwarfs. I don't think I'm getting out of this group. I think my only hope against Phil is a massive amount of inducement money because I'm going to have buckets to face him with. I think I might be able to outstrength JD, but I can't out-edge him. He's going to run right around me. And the Nurgle team, I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening. I think I think JD has probably nailed it. I think it's Phil and JD to get out of this group. I think if Andy can kind of position and play those Nurgle right, he might be able to cause, particularly, I think Andy's going to cause JD some problem. So I think if JD can get past Andy, JD's got through. If Andy can hold him up enough and can cause his Adge some problem with the foul appearance, with disturbing presence, making throwing difficult, then I think it's Andy's. But I'm gonna go on the record with Phil and JD. Knights of Cerulean and Doombringers.
Okay. Tom?
I'm afraid I'm going to have to follow with Chris's confidence on him getting out of this division and go with the same with JD and Phil. I just think that Phil has played those Khorne a lot. JD has got the only real agile team in that division. So he can, if he plays them like a proper agile team, he's got it made. And again, I've never played Nurgle. I've just heard that they're very, very difficult to move up the pitch and move around effectively. And as you quite rightly put, Chris, Old World is just a kind of drunken pub team that's been cobbled together with a lot of animosity.
In a way, it's absolutely the right team for me, but in another way, it's the worst team I could have ever chosen, and I regret this decision until the season is over.
Well, just start throwing those halflings. That's all I can say.
That I will do.
For me, I'm going to go for JD because I want to see the Dark Elves do well, and they do have dump off, which I think is a very, very useful skill to have. Has Chris gone? Was it something we said?
Oh no, I can still, I can't hear you, but I am still here. I'm just sorting the dog out who's being difficult.
This is live broadcasting, folks. This is what we get. This is what we get paid to manage. So I think JD. I know he's in chat. I know Willow will be cheering him on. So I'm liking for that. So I'm going for JD, and I'm not going to go with Phil. I know Phil's in chat. Sorry, Phil, but I'm going to go for Andy. He did super well with Think Mob last year, and just purely for the dad dancing and for the video, I think he's the greatest showman, and he deserves it. So come on, Andy.
Well, I feel the weight of expectation, because I know that you two look up to me as this Blood Bowl star, and the weight of expectation is lifted. So thank you both of you for not putting me through. I appreciate the kindness that you have shown me today.
I'm only saying that because I haven't come to my group yet.
Well, speaking of your group,
hey.
Here we go. This looks like another fun one. This is for Scott, for you, Tom, and Simon. This is somewhat deja vu of last year, except you have chucked Harry out the door and you've brought in Sam with his lizards.
Yeah.
How did you feel when this one came out?
Yeah, this was more deja vu than deja vu. Plus, the irony is that the three of us played each other, or I played Tom and I played Simon on the Ipswich Classic on the weekend. So it's like we can't get away from each other. It's going to be a tough one. Sam is obviously starting with a little bit of advantage because you can't see it there in his team value, but he's got some SPP in terms of upgrades. So he's got it there as well. He redrafted this team. Simon's I noticed he's got one of his cheeky halflings in there, so I'm sure we'll be seeing him thrown around the pitch as well. Tom's got his Amazons. So 3 brand new teams in terms of the league format for the coaches. Elves didn't do too bad the weekend. Had a very good game against Tom, 1-1 draw. And yeah, just looking forward to it at the moment. I'm going to say, though, in terms of going forward from this group, I think it's going to be Tom and I think it's going to be Sam as well. This, for me, is Wood Elves. It's going to be a 2-season build, so they probably will be redrafted next year unless they've been completely punched into the ground and there's no one left. So we shall wait and see. I know they are causing people, and I looked to the double yokes as part of this, they are causing people a lot of excitement. People want to look, and people seem to have this understandable need to want to just punch elves and pink elves squarely in the face. So for me, it's going to be Tom and it's going to be Sam. Sorry, Simon.
Tom, what are you thinking?
Break it to me gently, guys.
Yeah, so I don't think Scott's being completely truthful on the basis that I know that he's diligently been playing a lot of friendly games, in particular with me on those Wood Elves, and he's been playing them very well. I'm going to put you through, Scott, and also Sam as well, on the basis that Lizards are now my new bogey team after losing 5-0 to a certain person on this stream at the weekend.
I wasn't going to bring it up.
I was. So don't worry.
So I'm gonna put it down. I'm gonna put you, Scott, through because I think you've got some tactics there. You know, you've now learned and play those elves very well. And then I'm also putting through Sam because equally I know he plays those lizards extremely well.
I think it's interesting, this one. I think Simon, I was watching Simon practice some practice at the weekend with his humans. Um, Sam has done kind of like an interesting redraft tactic where he's redrafted just SPP and not really any skills, so he can now kind of upgrade his team to kind of suit what he's looking at here. I think I think there's if he chucks a load of tackle all over there and counteracts a bunch of the dodge that you're going to be looking for, Scott, and that Tom's going to have, Sam could have some fun with those Saurus if he can stick tackle on some of them if they've got the SPP to spend. Um, I think. Ooh, Scott, I'm sorry, I'm going Tom and Sam. I'm going Tom and Sam for this one. I think
I can't blame you, Chris. I can't say against it, honestly. But I think elves are, and particularly wood elves. Yeah, everybody goes, oh, they've got 2 war dancers. Yes, they do, and they are very, very good. But then everyone else around them, plus as well, no APOC to start with.
yeah.
So there's no coming back. They're expensive in terms of linemen. Yeah, if you want, I could have got an APOC, but that's another re-roll you miss out. So it's 2 re-rolls only, so you've got to be very careful with those as well. So if we're going to dive some cages, it's got to be very careful and very, very cleverly managed as well. I was torn, if I'm honest, between Sam and Simon in terms of who do I think is going to go through. I just think it could be just the hitting power of those lizard men and the sauruses, and their movement 6 as well, which is a bit of a concern.
It feels like this season is the season that Sam turns. Sam's been very clever last season, and I feel like this is the season he hits the ground running. So I'd be very I'm looking forward to it.
And then just the other thing as well, because looking at Simon, he's picked the team. He's got 4 blitzers in there. He's got the ogres. He's got 4 blitzers. He's got the two catchers and the throwers. So whilst strength is all 3, strength 3 on block, and they're all movement 7. So the only thing you look at the elves I'll be against. I'll be playing. Yes, we're all Edge 2 compared to his Edge 3, but would you want an Edge 3 with block for a blitzer and a movement 7, strength 3, and their AV 9 versus the elves who are movement 7, strength 3, Edge 2, passing is 4, and you've got armor value 8. So yeah.
So this now comes the tricky bit, because now comes the bit where we have to pick a top 3 of the conference and a top 3 of the top bracket, and we have to remember who we've put through to the top bracket and the bottom bracket, and then we have to pick from them as to who's gonna be in that position. I think bottom bracket top 3. For me, and I'm not going to commit to an order. Or did we commit to an order last time?
No.
Okay. Bottom bracket, top 3. I am going to go for the Argarthan Mewers. I think they could have some real fun in that bottom bracket. I'm going to go for Transfigari and Terrors. I think John will get into the bottom bracket and then he'll storm it. And then rounding up the top 3, I'm going to go for the Atomic Cherry Bombs.
That's very kind, very kind. Tom?
That's sorry, just writing it all down. So that's your top 3 of the bottom bracket?
Yes.
Okay. Cool. Okay, so I think that we're going to get a few different ones here. I'm wondering whether there's going to be the the T-Belly Trudgers, so Justin with his team in there. I also think that we're going to get a gnome team in there. So I think it might actually be Dave C with his Draystone Defenders. And rounding that one off, I think it's going to be probably James with OTFC on that side of things.
You didn't have James going through from Nesquik, did you, Tom?
Let me just double check. Yep, I had James going through from Nesquik on that one. Oh, so we're going from
We're talking about bottom
Yeah, we're
half.
doing the
bottom half.
Bottom
Oh,
half.
yeah. Okay. David Rue then on that one.
Okay. For me, for the bottom half, I'm going to go, and I am going to say the full words. I'm going to go for the fighting, losing, and maybe initialising nonchalant goblin offensive strategies led by Mr. Norman. This is, from what I've heard on the grapevine, going to be their last appearance in their current guise and format. So I think they're going to go out, especially if they're playing gnomes in the conference. What Scott did on the weekend is he delightfully shaved a fox with a chainsaw. So I think that's something we can all look forward to. So I'm going to go for Scott. I'm going to go for Mr. Reader because hopefully by then he will have got, he might not be failing his bloodlust completely for that as well. And the other one I'm going to put down is just because I want to back, completely biased with the Skaven coach. I'm going to go down. I'm going to put Carl down as well. I think if he can upskill those Skaven and do it pretty quickly, then we should wait and see. So that's what I'm going to go for. Just coming out of that group. Yeah, they're my three.
So,
Was that two? Yeah, it was three.
So top bracket then. Scott, what's your top bracket? What's your top three? Top three Premier League. Who's it going to be?
Righteous Rams, Buffalo Biggins, and it's also going to be, I think, looking at this at the moment, I think it's going to be World Edge Berserkers.
Ooh. Tom?
Do I have to give reasons, or can we just leave it at that?
You can give reasons if you want. I mean, those are three solid choices. I'm toying with those as well.
Nanny, Harrison, and Death Rollers and Mighty Blows. That's it.
So
I think season 7 is going to be Nanny's tour de force, and he will go into the Hall of Fame as the GOAT, literally.
okay. So I'm going to go with Buffalo Biggins as well. But I'm also going to go with Double Yolks because I do think that, they went through and did a fantastic kind of process last season. And then I will also go with World's Edge Berserkers on that side of things.
That's 2 for Jamie to go through. Be in that top 3. I'm also toying with Jamie in the top 3, and I can't quite decide whether. I've got like 5. Can I pick 5?
No.
Right. Righteous Rams, and then I think it is one of Dead Star Belgrave and Graveyard Groovers, and one of Buffalo Biggins and World's Edge Berserkers.
You got a dice there, Chris.
I'm going to go Rams, Biggins, Groovers. I think Harrison will build on last season, and it will get him sort of as far to the end or to a similar point. I can see this being Nanny's. I can see this being a really kind of incredibly impressive final appearance and amazing push of the Righteous Rams. And the dogs clearly agree with me. And I can also see Robert with those Shambling Undead. I'm told by James that his Shambling Undead performance on Blood Bowl 3 is somewhat impressive. And I think if he can carry that through, he can get into that top 3. So I'm going to go, Rich, Robert, Harrison.
Okay. And then the final thing, the most important one of all, was Stunty Cup.
OTFC.
OTFC.
I think he, I think he retains it. I think they are, I think they're the best. They're the best placed for it, and he's going to have some real stiff competition. But I think they could be the only stunty team, or one of a few, one of maybe 2 that gets through to the top half, and then I think they could get sort of a couple of rounds in as well. OTFC.
Oh, well, just to be different, I'm going to go for Flamingos on that one.
Scott, someone believes in you.
Is that our predictions locked in? Is that us?
That's it.
Is that us decided?
JD Clark, love you, JD. He suggested in chat an all elf final. If that was the case, JD, then we can only dream one day, even if it's a final and a tournament, just the 2 of us.
Well, that's all our groups. That's all of our things, all our predictions locked in. Thank you, everyone, for watching and bearing with us through various technical things and dogs barking and squeaking toys and anything else that I've decided to throw at this stream today and starting late. All of it. We're thrilled to be back. We're going to be here running you through the season. Next week we'll be back for Monday Night Roundup to give you all of the details from the first games that are being played. Get your games booked in, get in touch with the shop, get the tables booked, because people are going to be booking them so quickly. You want to make sure you get space in if you're able to play. Good luck to everyone.
Yes.
All of the coaches we've mentioned, all of the coaches we haven't, and everyone in between. Really, really good luck. And we will be so excited to see this season as it goes through. We will have live Blood Bowl coming to you at some point, probably this week. We'll pick a game that we can show you. I've got a few that I've got an eye on that might be quite good to see. We'll be bringing back the 30-second recaps as well. That's going to be coming back later in the season. We've got New Dice Please, which you may have seen on our trailer. Bite-sized Blood Bowl podcast coming your way as well. Loads of stuff that we're going to be throwing at you. So, keep tuned in. Keep watching the channel. Thank you so much for your support. Good luck in the new season, and we will see you next time.